Welcome back to Andersen Acres. It's been a muddy week, and I don't know why he's in this pen when we have the whole side open over there of the pen. I don't know why we're in here. We could be out here eating grass, but we're in here in the mud eating hay. That wasn't technically for you, but whatever. I'm not even going to pretend to understand what Shadowfax likes anymore. He likes mud. He likes to lay in the mud. We're just going with it. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about stalling your mini horse. Because here's the thing. I know I've said mini horses do best when they're outside. Here comes Sauron. I don't know why you're in the mud either. You guys are all set up in the trees or you don't have to be in the mud, but whatever. I don't know. They like mud. Whatever. But I have said a lot that your mini horses should not be stalled. They should have frequent access to the outdoors. They should be playing outside. They should be having a fantastic day. And there goes chicken under his legs. So, why am I doing a video on how to stall your mini horse? Because sometimes you might have to. Hopefully you don't. Stalling is not ideal. Hi, Arwen. But it's also occasionally necessary. Okay? You might have a mare in foal. Maybe you have a horse that is ill or injured. That could be a possibility. You might have an elderly horse and a wicked storm is coming. And you might have to stall for that reason. An elderly horse, and if you have wicked cold temps or a lot of rain coming, you might need to put them up. You know, older horses are more susceptible to illness and disease. So you might have to stall them when bad weather's coming. Hi, baby. So if you're going to stall them, what do? Well, first of all, only stall if absolutely necessary. Excessive stalling can lead to things like cribbing, weaving. It can kind of trigger health issues like colic or ulcers, stuff like that. So stall only if necessary. If you do have to stall, the minimum size for a mini horse stall is 6 feet by 8 feet. Thank you, Sauron. But 6 feet by 8 feet. Bigger is better. So if you have a 10 by 12 or even bigger stall for your miniature horse to go in, that's even better. Okay, the more space he has, the better. You also want to make sure that he has a lot of ventilation, because we've talked about before how important ventilation is, because you don't want them trapped, especially if it's kind of damp out. You don't want them trapped. Okay? You definitely don't want them trapped in a damp area. You want ventilation to help keep them healthy and happy. You want to make sure your horse can see either over or through the stall so that he doesn't feel isolated, so he can see everyone else in the barn. So a standard stall for a larger horse may not work out very well because the walls tend to be too high for a mini. So definitely you want to make sure your miniature horse can kind of see out of that stall, whether you replace one of the walls with wire, whether you lower the walls so he can stick his head over. However you do it, you just want to make sure that your mini horse definitely can see where he is and can see everyone else. And we're just playing in the mud. Come out on the grass. He's like, no, I want to roll in mud. That's why I'm so muddy. Yeah, okay, fine. So in your stall, what kind of floor should you have? There's a lot of options. You have to pick what works best for you, because every flooring type has its pros and cons. There's no exact right answer. You might want a dirt floor, which is kind of easy on the horse because dirt is more It's not more absorbent. It helps with the impact on their knees. So you definitely might want to consider that. But it holds a lot of moisture, and as you can see from Shadowfax, having access to a lot of dirt means a dirty pony. So especially if you have a show pony, you might not want to use dirt as the floor of a stall. You could use sand, but sand, I love sand, first of all. I think sand is like the best thing on the planet. However, sand does tend to be a little bit cold. It doesn't hold a lot of heat, so if you're in a cold area like we are, sand might not be great. Also, sand seems to disappear. It's really weird, but You fill a stall with sand, you know, it could have 4 inches of good sand, and a month later you're like, where'd all the sand go? So sand has to be replenished regularly. It can be a little annoying. You might want wood. Wood is like softer than concrete, but it's expensive to replace when it rots. And it may rot if your pony is stalled. They're going to be peeing in their stall because they can't get outside. So the floor could get quite wet. So you may end up eventually having to replace a wood floor. Concrete is really easy to clean, but it's cold and it's hard on the horse's knees and their joints. So you definitely need stall mats. So if you do have concrete and maybe even on wood, you might want to use stall mats. If you're going to be stalling for long periods of time, get stall mats that are really good. Spend the money, okay? Especially if you're using those stalls regularly or if you're foaling regularly. If you're going to have babies, you might as well invest in really good stall mats, okay? Don't cheap out. You definitely want to get something half decent. Eating some hay that's not for him. Whatever, I don't care. What kind of bedding should you use? Bedding in stalls is important. You want to make sure everyone is comfortable. Bedding needs to be soft to make a nice bed, but it also has to absorb their urine. Like I already said, they're going to be peeing in their stall because they can't get outside. That's what stalling means. Stalling doesn't mean that you're going to let him out constantly. That's not stalling. Stalling at night is not the same thing as real, my horse is sick and needs to be on stall rest stalling. So if they can't get out, they're going to have to pee in their stall. So you need an absorbent material. There's a lot of options here. And again, you're going to have some people who are diehard one way or the other. But really, it's whatever works for you. Really. So you might use straw, which is cheap and soft. But it's not really that absorbent and it's really annoying to clean. Shavings is a really popular choice because they are soft and easy to clean. However, they also can be really dusty, so buy a brand that's not as dusty, and they can be kind of pricey. So you'll have to put some money into it. Some people like those horse stall pellets because they absorb and they're easy to clean. They're just not as comfortable a bed as some of the other options. Hi, buddy. You don't even care. Why is there mud on your ears? I understand the mud on the neck. And I understand the mud on the back and the booty. And I understand the mud on the legs. Why is there mud on your ears? You don't care? You're not going to answer me? Fine. Don't answer me. See if I even care. There are chickens making a racket behind me. Okay. Yeah, you heard that too, huh? It's just the chickens being really weird. Anyway, so pellets are really absorbent, but they're not super comfortable for the horse. They are easy to clean though. So a lot of people like to do pellets and then do a layer of shavings on top just for the horse's comfort. That would probably be one of my recommendations. You can use shredded paper, which we shred a lot of paper for the winter months and give them nice beds. So you can certainly do that. So yeah, shredded paper works, sand, peat moss. There's a lot of different options. You have to find what works for you in your particular situation. I tend to be partial to sand and I do like shavings. So those two things would be my options for myself, but you have to find what works for you because every farm is just a little bit different. So figure out what works for you and go with it. Whatever you're using, you need to clean your stalls daily and you need to have constant access to food and water because remember, if they're stalled, if your mini horse is stalled, he can't come out here and eat grass. I don't know why you're eating this instead of grass. Probably because you want that first so nobody else can have it. And then you'll come out here and eat grass. Because you're a bum. You're a greedy bum. That wasn't even for you. Whatever. So, you do want to make sure you provide clean food and water at least twice a day. Try to have a consistent, always available food and water because they can't go out and get it on their own because they're stalled. Make sure you're changing your bedding. You probably have to clean daily. You'll probably have to spot clean every day. And you probably have to completely clean the stall at least once a week, if not more. You also need to check your stalls for damage because miniature horses, I know they're small, but they can be little butt heads. So, yeah, they can be total butt heads. So yes, sometimes it happens that they do a little damage to your stalls and you're going to have to do some maintenance and fixing. So those are my recommendations if you do have to stall your mini horse. I do try to avoid it, and even if you are stalling, see if you can get as much turnout as possible, even if it's just in a small pen for a little while. If you have a horse that's on stall rest and really can't do a lot of exercising, at least try to give them something, because they'll be happier and healthier for it. And if you're wondering why he's still fuzzy with it being the end of May, it was snowing less than a week ago. So, I live in Canada. We get snow in May. Anyway, so that's why he's still fuzzy. And why is he dirty? He loves mud. I'm not even going to worry about it until these spring rains and the random snowstorms have passed. Then we'll get him all cleaned up, and I'll try to get some shots of him running around on the grass, because he is a beautiful pony when he's not kind of looking mangy and muddy. I promise he's very beautiful. If you want to see how beautiful he is, you'll have to go back to our winter videos or last summer, because spring videos of Shadowfax are pretty much this. He's a muddy man. He loves mud. Anyway, that's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. I hope your horse enjoys mud as much as mine. We'll see you tomorrow.